Ever wondered what the real difference is between just a fleeting thought and, a business that actually changes the world? Well, today we are going to map out that exact journey, the whole path, from a simple idea to making a real-world impact.
Oh, come on. You know this feeling. We've all been there. You get that flash of brilliance in the shower or that what-if moment on your drive to work. But actually turning that spark into something real? Yeah, that's the tricky part. So, where do you even start?
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with creativity itself, what it really is. Then we'll go hunting for opportunities, figure out the different types of innovation, and then we're going to face some hard truths about why so many new businesses fail. And finally, we'll run our idea through the ultimate reality check. So let's get into it, starting with where it all begins, the creative spark.
First things first, let's just pull back the curtain on this whole idea of creativity. It's not some kind of mystical force that only strikes a few lucky people. No, it's actually a structured process, one that you can learn and get really good at. When you boil it all down, creativity is really just about solving problems. It's about coming up with ideas that make something better, whether that's a product, a service, or just a way of doing things. It has way less to do with a lightning bolt of genius and a lot more to do with a systematic way of thinking.
Now this is fascinating. Most of us think that eureka moment is where everything starts. But look at this, it's actually step 3. That amazing flash of insight, it only happens after you've done the homework, after you've gathered all the raw materials, and then just let your brain chew on it for a while. And the real work, the part that actually separates the dreamers from the doers, that's all in step 4. That's the heavy lifting of turning an idea into a reality.
Okay, so if creativity is a process, where do we point it? I mean, where are all these game-changing opportunities actually hiding out?
Well, the funny thing is, they're usually hiding in plain sight. Great ideas often pop up from just watching how society is changing or what's new in tech. They come from surprises, from those gaps between what we expect and what we actually get. And, of course, from those everyday pain points we all complain about. If you just train yourself to look at the world through these lenses, you'll start seeing opportunities absolutely everywhere.
And here's where it all clicks into place. These sort of abstract ideas lead to very real, very concrete businesses. I mean, think about it. FedEx saw a huge incongruity. Everybody just accepted that mail took 3 days. Microwave ovens solved a major process need, getting dinner on the table faster. And the whole fitness boom, that was powered by a huge shift in our perception of health. Each one solved a real problem they found in one of these areas.
So, you've found an opportunity. You've got an idea. Now what? Well, it's actually super helpful to figure out what kind of innovation your idea is. It really helps clarify your whole strategy.
So ask yourself, is your idea a true invention, something the world has literally never seen before? Or maybe it's an extension, like how Facebook took the idea of social networking and applied it specifically to college campuses. Maybe it's a duplication, but with a clever twist, kind of like what Walmart did to department stores. Or is it a synthesis, where you combine a few existing ideas, like logistics and air travel, to create something brand new, like FedEx? Just knowing which box you fit in helps you understand your market and your competition so much better.
All right, deep breath. Time for a little tough love. We've got our idea, we know what kind of innovation it is, but now we need to be realistic about the minefield we're about to walk into. Get this, over 400,000 new businesses get started every single year, and that's just in the US. That's more than 1,000 a day. The entrepreneurial spirit is clearly alive and well, but the hard reality is, survival is not guaranteed, not even close. So why do so many of them fail? Well, study after study shows it almost always boils down to 2 huge pitfalls. First, you get the product or the market wrong. You either build something nobody actually wants, or you can't figure out how to reach the people who do. The second one, it's all about money. You just run out of cash, you take on too much debt, or you just mismanage your finances. Pretty much every business failure story traces back to one of these 2 big areas.
So the million-dollar question is, how do you avoid becoming just another statistic? Well, you stress test your idea before you bet the farm on it. You have to ask yourself the really hard questions right at the beginning.
There's a great little framework for this. You can think of it like a pre-flight checklist for your business. It's just a set of tough, objective questions, and they're designed to expose any fatal flaws in your concept while it's still just an idea on a napkin. So let's run through a few of the most critical ones.
First up, you have to be brutally honest about the size of the prize. And you can't just look at today. You got to look out 3 to 5 years. Are you jumping into a growing market, or are you basically trying to sell something into a shrinking pond? Okay, this next one is totally non-negotiable for a new company. High gross margins give you breathing room. They're the cushion that pays for your mistakes, they fund your growth, and they're one of the very first things any investor is going to look for. Without them, your path forward is going to be incredibly difficult.
What's your secret weapon? And hey, proprietary doesn't have to mean you have a fancy patent. It just means you have some kind of secret sauce, a unique process, a special insight, something that keeps competitors from copying you on day two. You need a little moat around your castle, one that gives you time to build your brand and lock down your spot in the market.
This might just be the most powerful question of them all. Can you, right this second, name your first 10 customers? And I don't mean a demographic like moms in their 30s. I mean actual names. If you can do that, it's a massive, massive signal that you've tapped into a real urgent need, not just some theory you have.
So at the end of the day, this journey from idea to impact, it's not about one single creative spark. It's about a disciplined search for a real opportunity and then having the guts to put it through a really tough reality check. You got to remember, the idea just gets you in the door. The process is what lets you win the game.
Look, we've just given you the map, but a map doesn't do you any good if it just sits on your desk, right? So if your idea managed to survive all these tough questions, don't just sit there and dream about it. What is the absolute smallest, simplest action you can take today to start moving it from your mind and out into the world?